please, let's take our seats. Okay, welcome to this evening's meeting. We will have a moment of silent prayer, be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would, please stand with me. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to do roll call?
Yes, before we start, let's conduct roll call. Commissioner DeMont Davis.
Present.
Commissioner Sana Gregory.
I am here, sir.
Commissioner Gail Hambrick.
Here.
Commissioner Felicia Franklin Warner.
I'm here.
All present and accounted for, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our December the 15th, 2020 regular business meeting. Our first order of business is adoption of the agenda. Do any members of the board want to offer any amendments?
Yes, I'd like to have.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Commissioner Gregory.
Okay, is Mr. Reed available? I have a resolution. I think I sent everyone an email. Mr. Reed, would you present that?
Yes, Commissioner. Good evening, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, Board. On behalf of Commissioner Gregory, this is Resolution 2020-249, which is a resolution authorizing Clayton County to grant a special facilities use request to allow the 9 to 5 organization to host an event to increase voter participation at the Clayton County Carl Rodenizer Recreation Center, to authorize the chairman to perform all acts necessary to accomplish the intent of this resolution, to provide an effective date of this resolution, and for other purposes.
All right, Commissioner Gregory, you're wanting to make the motion on that?
Yes, sir. I'll offer a motion to add the resolution to the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion. Those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Mr. Reed, there was one more that I would like you to present for me as well. Were we doing?
We're going to do it after.
Okay, all right. Disregard. Any other amendments, deletions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there's an item, I'm trying to pull it up on the phone because I can't pull it up with the camera on. But there's an item for the salary augmentation for the Superior Court judge. And I'm trying to remember if it was in the consent agenda or separate. I would like to have it removed from the consent agenda.
It's not on here.
That is not being considered on this agenda. There was a couple of items, and I don't know if that was one of those specifically that came from Judge Simmons asking to withdraw. There was 2 requests that came out of the court system, and he asked for both of those to be withdrawn before the agenda meeting. I don't know if that dealt with that or not.
Okay.
But that's not being considered on this agenda. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so because we get several of them, so that's why I had that note there when we got it from.
Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Any others? All right. Hearing none. Motion to approve or to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
Properly moved and second. Those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? It's unanimous.
Our next item of business are proclamations and presentations. First, we will have the Veteran of the Month.
All right, our Veteran of the Month, and this month is unique because we got behind because of COVID, but this veteran is definitely one of our own, Miss Jamie Carlington. So let's recognize her. Jamie's career began in the military as a public affairs officer in the U.S. Army. Most of her active duty career was spent at Fort Hood, Texas, which is considered the largest military installation in the world. While at Fort Hood, she organized post-news conferences and military briefings while assigned to the general staff. Jamie also served as a protocol officer overseeing visits of foreign and domestic officials. Throughout her diverse career, Jamie has relied on her military skills and training in order to obtain many successful results. In her current role as the Agent Program Administrator for Clayton County Senior Services, Jamie oversees the Meals on Wheels program, medical transportation services, in-home care services, the Aging Food Pantry, and the Furniture Assistance Program. Her transition into the aging arena came after she held the position of Public Information Officer for the county, where she became very interested in the services and programs offered by Senior Services. As a firm believer in service, Jamie serves on the State Board of Meals on Wheels Association of Georgia. She is also an active member of Meals on Wheels Association of America, oversees the Aging MOW Advisory Board, a member of Senior Services AFSV committee in a Big Sister and the Metro Atlanta Big Sisters, Big Brothers program. She also serves on the Missionary Board, Visitors Guild Ministry, and Veterans Ministry at New Macedonian Baptist Church in Riverdale. Jamie has one daughter, Taylor A. Carlington, who recently graduated from Emerson College in Boston with a degree in digital marketing and journalism. And they have a very charismatic Yorkie poo named Humphrey Bogart. Bogey. Jamie graduated from Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, where she received her BS in Public Affairs with a concentration in mass communication and was commissioned as a second lieutenant. Jamie was promoted to the rank of captain before leaving active duty and going into the Army Reserves. I'd like to share with everyone a quote from Senior Services Director Tori Strauder-Tanks. And I quote, "Ms. Carlington was nominated as Veteran of the Month for the month of June for her exemplary leadership shown during the onset of the pandemic. Jamie went above and beyond to ensure that all of the aging programs currently homebound clients had no interruption to vital services, while ensuring an additional 100 plus clients from the waiting list received services. We would like to express our sincere admiration for the amazing efforts Ms. Carlington has put forth as the Aging Program Administrator with Senior Services. We appreciate everything you have done during your tenure with Senior Services, the endless hours that you spend working here, and the professionalism you continually show as you serve one of the county's most vulnerable population. Jamie, thank you for your service to our country and to our seniors," end quote. This time, help me recognize and honor Captain Jamie Carlington. Thank you. I'm sure she was logged on, so we definitely appreciate her service to our country and definitely appreciate service to our county, especially amongst our seniors. All right.
Our next item is a presentation on the medical examiner, and this is coming from Commissioner Franklin Warner.
Is Chief Kevin Roberts on?
Mr. Chairman, I believe we need to make sure DA Mosley is also on. I don't see her in the attendee list.
Well, I was going to let, well, she was giving the information. I was going to give Chief Roberts the opportunity to introduce her.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Board of Commissioners. It was my understanding that the DA was going to attend in person. If she's not in attendance, please let me know.
We don't see her yet, so if she comes in, we will bring her forward. But please proceed.
Mr. Chairman, Chief Roberts, I apologize. I spoke with the DA earlier, and she did switch to being on Zoom as, you know, she's dialing me now. So you all go ahead and...
Go ahead, Chief Roberts.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening. I apologize for not being there myself. in person. My personal circumstances won't allow me to be there, but I thought it prudent to provide an update as requested by Commissioner Warner on our medical examiner situation. Near the end of July of 2020, I apologize. During the third quarter of 2019, the county was notified by the GBI that they wanted to update their year-to-year contract as it was no longer covering their costs to provide services to our county. That being said, the BOC approved new payments to the GBI for those services, but at that time, the GBI made us aware they were no longer interested in maintaining a long-term relationship and suggested that the county stand up a coroner service. The county is required by law, as provided in OCGA 45-16-20, to maintain a coroner's office or medical examiner's office, as indicated on screen. Near the end of July 2020, the COO contacted the police department and fire and emergency services to provide context of our needs related to a scope of work for procuring coroner services. Keeping in mind that the county had been notified formally in July that the GBI will no longer provide services effective January 1st, 2021. With that in mind, I composed a task force with representatives from Clayton County Police Department, the DA's office, Clayton County Fire Emergency Services, Clayton County Central Services, and County Legal to identify a viable service provider to replace the GBI with that January 1st effective date. The task force identified a potential vendor in Cobb County, but that vendor was unable to complete the required coroner's training, so that option was no longer available. Due to the January termination date quickly approaching, I contacted the director of the GBI, Vic Reynolds, to request an extension. He was gracious enough to extend a final extension until February 1st, and he was emphatic that there will be no further extensions to Clayton County related to this matter. That being said, a potential vendor has been identified through a contact with Douglas County Coroner's Office. Our efforts are now focused on creating a temporary ME service to provide the needs of the county with the departure of the GBI. Central Services is currently working with the new potential vendor to complete a contract and stand up this new service by the end of January 2021. The goal is to have this contract before the board for approval in January. The vendor will be an independent LLC to avoid any conflicts of interest. The investigators all will have previous medical examiner coroner experience and are not working for any other jurisdiction. In closing, it appears that the current vendor that we're working with will meet our needs as a county prior to the February 1st closing date as a short-term solution, but the long-term question is, will the county want a medical examiner or a coroner to provide these services after this short-term solution is exhausted? Our task force recommends a medical examiner's office as a long-term solution. Reason being, if you canvass our metropolitan partners in the region, they all have medical examiner's offices, and that's likely due to the number of deaths that occur in those jurisdictions, just like ours. With that, I was going to defer to the DA at this time.
I am here, Chief Roberts.
And I will turn it over to the DA, and following her comments, we'll open the floor for questions from the board.
Ms. Mosley.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners, after receiving the emails that I received from John Melvin, and looking at our numbers and looking at the surrounding counties, it has come to my attention or understanding that a coroner service is not what we need. At our last meeting, as I informed everybody, we must have a medical examiner. Our numbers are equal to that of Fulton, DeKalb, Cobb, Gwinnett. Those counties have medical examiner services. Glenn County has medical examiner services. Augusta has a medical examiner. Even though Clayton might be small town, and we like to keep the small town field, we are we are Metro Atlanta. We have the busiest airport in the world, and it is continuing to expand. Every time we turn around, they're adding another runway. They're taking up more of our space. Um, and so, therefore, our problems are not Mayberry problems. Our problems are Atlanta problems. And we're going to have to put the money into it. This is not a $300,000 or $400,000 fix. This is a couple of $1 million fix that we need to get on board and handle as soon as we possibly can. Um, my biggest concern now, as district attorney, even though we have this company, we believe you'll pass and ratify this company coming in to handle our coroner services, we now fall down the list on the GBI. Whereas we were paying them and we were up on the list, and they would make sure we got our reports back, our ME reports, in a timely manner since we were paying them. That's no longer going to be how it works come the end of January. What's also disturbing is that the GBI sent out, Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was in October or November, they have shut down a couple medical examiners' offices. Macon Bibb, they've shut down. They have divided that territory to send the bodies to Pooler, which I think is off of I-16, and to Panthersville Road. So now you've got Clayton joining in with all of those counties in North Georgia that don't have an ME's office, sending them to Panthersville Road, and those south of us sending to Panthersville Road. That means that my ME examinations, those death cases, those murder cases that I'm waiting on final declaration from a ME saying that's a homicide or so forth, that puts me further down the list. And that means more time that I have to wait until I can get a defendant, actually to indict a defendant and get a defendant before a jury trial. COVID-19 has already put me behind. And I don't need to go further behind by waiting on medical examiners' reports. So my suggestion as district attorney, after speaking to the rest of the board or the rest of this committee, would hopefully be that we approve this particular LLC, but at the same time, be looking for a building that we can retrofit for basically an ME's office, so that we can hire 2 MEs, hire the ME investigators, and get it set up so that maybe by the end of 2021, if not the middle of 2022, we will have a working ME's office, and this will be our long-term solution, and we won't have to be dealing with this from year to year. Because unfortunately, it'd be nice to say that people have been nice during COVID-19, but they have not. They have kept the course going as far as crime and as far as our deaths are concerned. So I think we're going to have to bite the bullet, as the people say, and spend the millions of dollars that it's going to take to get us up and running. And honestly, it's going to be an office where the budget is going to be about a 7-digit budget. Thank you.
All right, well, let me say this. I definitely appreciate the work that the work group put into this. I know it's been a lot of going back and forth and last minute decisions. I think we have came to a place where we have a definitive direction to go in. And I'm thankful for the recommendation that y'all are making, because to be absolutely, well, I am just me. I'm not going to speak for anybody else. Agree wholeheartedly with the recommendation for the medical examiner's office. That's something that if this board agrees and decides to go forward with, we will definitely make provisions with that or for that in this upcoming budget. I'm thankful we got the stopgap measure in place with this LLC to make sure that our medical examiner needs are taken care of. And I just appreciate all of the work that you, the chief, and the others have done in this area. Are there any other questions or statements from board or questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is Hambrick.
Commissioner Hambrick, go ahead.
Between, medical
Could you speak up a little bit, Commissioner Hambrick?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I said, will someone please tell me or explain to me the difference between medical examiner and coroner?
Yes, ma'am. The coroner by law does not have to have a medical degree. He could be, in the past, before Clayton County dissolved the coroner's position, one was I think both of them were funeral home directors. All you have to have is a high school diploma, as long as you live in the county for a year. And basically what the coroner would do is go pick up the bodies, transport the bodies to the ME's office, also do a crime scene investigation. So Chief Roberts, police officer, goes to a shooting and they know the person is deceased. The coroner comes out and basically says, yeah, the person is dead. It looks like a homicide. The investigators would start investigating with the police officers to lay the foundation of the investigation. But the body would then be transported to the ME's office, the medical examiner, to perform the official autopsy. And that's what we use in court. The official autopsy, they dissect the entire body and confirm the cause of death for us. But the ME must be a medical doctor, must have the specific training that they must have for an ME. I'm probably forgetting something else. The ME I don't believe is required to reside here in the county. They're not required, and it's not an elected position, whereas the coroner is. And I do believe Commissioner Hambrick, Clayton County dissolved the coroner's position in either 2000 or in 2001. So it's been quite some time since we had a coroner, and that would be something that we would have to go to our local delegation to have them put on the agenda to get Clayton County back to have a coroner.
Okay, so why do we need so is it law or something that counties have to have a medical examiner? What do they do? Yeah, what do they do that we need a separate?
Well, right now, I think I understand your question. Why are we going with this LLC and still sending the bodies to the GBI? Is that your question?
Well, I guess that's it too. Yeah, but why do we need? Because for years we did have the coroner. So
Yes,
what
ma'am.
has changed that now we need the medical examiner instead of a coroner?
Madam
The
Chair,
GBI has basically told us that they're no longer handling the coroner duties. That's it. As of January 1st, 2021. They put us on notice sometime in the late summer. It was before I became DA. Once I was in 2019, before I became district attorney. The day I became district attorney, I received an email from John Melvin. The indication from the email is he had been attempting to get in touch with the county to renegotiate our contract for the coroner and medical exam, or coroner services. Because if you don't have a medical examiner, the GBI by law must be your medical examiner. But those coroner services, every county has a coroner. We didn't, because we dissolved our coroner. Whatever happened, all I know is October, I was put on notice. I then forwarded, hey, somebody needs to get in contact with this person. I get another email, December, still no communication. Apparently in January, y'all voted on it. Come March of 2020, GBI said, nope, we're not doing it. We're getting out of the coroner service because the numbers, I guess, I don't know, the numbers maybe just weren't what they wanted to be, probably because of COVID. That would have been about the time the state was put on notice that each department was looking at 11 to 13% budget cut. And that's what the GBI started doing about March. The state started cutting. And we happened to be one of those cuts because it was easy. They were providing us with coroner services, and we were one of the only counties to use them for coroner services because every other county has a coroner. But the specific counties that Chief talked about has an ME's office who handles the medical examiner part of it and also the coroner part of it. So they're all rolled up into one, whereas we were bifurcated. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Sounds like we just need to jump, not a coroner, but just have an ME office, a medical examiner's
ma'am.
office.
Yeah, let me also add, I'm sorry. Let me also add, Commissioner Hambrick, that to reestablish a coroner's office, we had to go through legislation from the General Assembly. By having a medical examiner's office, we can get that done through local legislation. So when you talk about the expediency of moving forward, a medical examiner's office is something that we can get online a whole lot quicker than waiting for the General Assembly to vote on it and then go out with the RFP, well, not RFP, but we have to have election for a coroner as opposed to hiring a medical examiner.
Okay. Well, I was thinking of the expense also,
Yes.
since it's so expensive for the medical examiner. If the coroner was less expensive and served the same purpose.
Yeah, but
We
there
would
are
still be
some
bifurcated.
expenses.
We would still have to send the bodies to the ME because the coroner does not have the medical degree, or legally could do what we need for him to do. The ME
Okay.
is the only one. So that's kind of why in the long run, it looks like it might be more expensive, but we probably come out on the cheaper end, because when you look at the expediency of where we would be able to get our reports, we wouldn't be fighting with the rest of the state of Georgia or North Georgia to get our autopsies back to us. We would have our own medical examiner here in the county. He or she would be able to report to court. We would not be fighting with other counties to get the ME to report to court when we need for them to testify. The area now of all of the other jurisdictions that we're fighting with has just increased on that ME part. So it's going to slow us down when it comes to prosecution of those cases.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Madam, I'm glad that you mentioned that about slowing down on the cases, because one of the things that I heard you say is now, with the route that we're taking, it's going to put us down on that list, as you just stated, because there's already a lot of folks that are pulling on services. So with that being said, am I hearing you correctly in that it's not only an added addition to us to have to make sure we get this up and running, but obviously if we're waiting for the medical examiner to give you reports, does that mean that we've got people that are in our jail longer possibly?
Yes.
While they're waiting for you, and so then now
If they haven't gotten a bond and bonded out, yes, ma'am, certain charges, they will not receive there will be a no bond. So yes, ma'am.
Oh, wow. And who pays for that when they're there longer?
All of us citizens of Clayton County.
Wow. So another question I have for you then, and Chief, and first of all, thank y'all again for this, because I did see your question in the chat during the work session, Madam DA. But how long will it take for us to stand up these ME services? And do we have that amount of time? Because it seems like it's going to be a strain on us, as you just stated, because we're going to have people there longer in jail, and we're paying for that as citizens. And but we put this stopgap measure, as Chairman stated, but it sounds like it's just a Band-Aid, not necessarily a stopgap measure, but a Band-Aid, because we got to quickly move from that to having our own ME. So what's that time frame, do you think?
I guess whenever the board decides to allocate the money and do because we know, just Chief Roberts and those of us who were on the committee and been talking for the last few months, we know it's 7 digits. We know you're talking about it getting at least 2 medical examiners, because if one is out sick or on vacation, you still need deputy chief or medical examiner there to continue on those death calls. You need a couple of investigators to go out when Chief Roberts, and please understand that this is something that you might want to talk to the cities about, because the contract that you guys had with the GBI, when a death occurred in Riverdale, Lovejoy, Morrow, guess where they were sending the bodies? To the GBI.
Wow.
Guess who was paying the bill? I don't know if you guys realized it, but you were paying the bill for all of those bodies being sent. So maybe that's something where you get with the 7 cities and say, hey, your apportionment of this, of this payment, because that's where those bodies, it's Clayton County. And so that's what the GBI is looking at. They're not looking at the 7 municipalities, I think I got it right, that are in there. They're not saying this is a Morrow case. They're just saying this is Clayton County. And so they charge Clayton County. So they're charging you for those services. Every time they do a autopsy, they get a body and make a determination. So this is possibly something, that you guys get together and talk to those cities and say, this is what we need to do, because they're going to use these services. Once we establish the ME, the medical examiner, ladies and gentlemen, the GBI is gonna say, oh, you've got an ME's office in Clayton County. We're not coming to pick up any of the bodies now. All the bodies need to be sent to your facility. So every city, if they experience a murder, it's coming to our ME's office. So maybe some of the costs can be deferred to the cities in their proportionate, or however you guys decide to negotiate that.
Okay. Can I
Thank you for that, Madam Dean.
Hold on, let me
It's a huge
clarify.
lift, but I know we got the right folks to get it done with you and Chief there. But I think it's very important that our board is aware. So I'm so glad that you brought this information to us today. Thank you all for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Yeah, let me just make a few points of clarification, and that is the contract that we're looking to enter into, if the board approves it through the LLC, is for a year. So the money that we would be giving the GBI, we will be paying for the contracted services of the LLC. There are some provisions that we're definitely making to accommodate the needs, i.e. the bodies and supplies and so forth. So additional monies that would traditionally, or have in the past, 19, 20 years, Chief, have gone to the GBI, we will be redirecting that money to the LLC. The GBI will continue to do what they've been doing for at least another month. So again, as Chief said, we appreciate the director allowing us to get an extension for another month. So within that year time frame, I'm sure we can have something in place if it's the board's will to move forward with the ME's office.
Okay.
Mr. Davis.
For the here and now, with the stopgap measure, is the LLC already certified with the coroner's board?
No, they don't have to be certified with the coroner's board, correct, Madam DA? I think they got clearance from the chief medical examiner, the state's chief medical examiner, to be able to operate in Clayton County. And correct me if I'm wrong also, that the LLC will have a doctor attached to their office as well, which will help expedite things as well.
As part of the contract, the county will have to contract with the designated doctor to be the medical examiner for the county. All of the investigators are already trained and they have completed the coroner's training, basic coroner's training.
But it was my understanding that you could complete coroner's training but still not be certified as a coroner.
Correct.
Because most of the
And
coroners.
it's a reason why we're not using the word coroner, because coroner is an elected position.
Yeah.
And we technically, Clayton County doesn't have a coroner. That's why we're saying ME services.
No, I understand. A coroner is usually a funeral director, whereas they cannot touch the body. The medical examiner touches the body.
Correct.
Also, too, the second thing is because it seems like we're going into a lot of work session type of details. Is it possible, I guess, DA Mosley, Chief Roberts, to begin, since you all have had these extended talks, to begin to get some staffing projections as well as the projected budget and summary of duties that would be needed to pull this off?
Absolutely.
Great.
The LLC that we're working with is already thinking long-term. They're setting up a foundation to have a long-term ME's office, whether it's the LLC members or not, and that will include future anticipations of staffing and costs. So the manager that we're working with the LLC is already forecasting for the future, knowing that the county needs a medical examiner's office long-term.
And also, in reference to that, we have been putting out fillers to see the costs, what the approximate costs are, some of the other medical examiners' offices.
Great.
Around the area. And one last thing in reference to DA Mosley's question or recommendation about the cities. Those negotiations will be handled through the SDS, Service Delivery Strategy,
Right.
according to what we already have in place with the cities.
I have a question. So that means that we're gonna have at least a preliminary conversation before this board approves this LLC contract for 1 year? Because it seems like then we're gonna have to put that bill, and we're making that decision as a board for 1 year, and now we're aware of the fact that we've been, you know, having to take on that cost without bringing the cities on before now. So will that conversation happen before you bring it to us?
Yeah, my initial intent was to bring it for us on the work session, but you requested to have it on this one. I think with the work session, we'll have more time to discuss things more in its totality. But that is the plan, yes, ma'am.
And I don't have a problem with saying I did request it. And again, because this is something that is definitely very serious. And as board members, I was receiving information from other places and asking me questions about it. And so it had not been brought forward. So again, thank you, Madam DA, and to Chief for bringing it before us, because there are a lot of things that we do have to consider. And so, and considering that the January 31st really is right around the corner, you know, because the 22nd is a work session, but at the end of the day, it's right before the holidays, and right after that, it's all the holidays, and the first meeting is really just kind of for us to just get things done, kind of like housekeeping. So this is something that is of a heavy lift that I thought we need to have more time, because this is a decision that this board is going to have to make, and we must make a knowledgeable decision. So that is the reason that I requested it. And based upon the questions that are being asked, it seems like it's been enlightening for us. So thank you so very much, Madam DA, and thank you.
Yeah, it was never an issue, a question. You have a right to request any kind of presentation. But most of the information just came to light this week. So we will continue to have this conversation and continue to make sure that all the commissioners are aware about what the game plan is. Again, additional information has come to light, so we will talk through that as well. To your point, Commissioner Franklin Warner, it's an important issue. Regardless if it's any holidays or whatever coming up, we need to sit down and talk about it, so we will be doing just that.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, just something for Chief and Madam DA. You all said 2 medical examiners. Now, would that office also include investigators?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
It'll be a fully staffed office, Commissioner Hambrick. Okay,
Thank you.
again.
One last question though. Chief alluded to the fact that the LLC would be working to bring about information, as I think Commissioner Davis alluded to as well, so that we can start getting prepared for the cost of it, the actual cost and staffing. Are those services going to be included in the contract that's presented to us in January, or is that extra?
No, ma'am.
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Chairman.
no, that was it. That was it. Or is it extra?
Go ahead, Chief.
No, ma'am, it's inclusive as part of their planning process for the stopgap. They're also planning for the future.
Awesome. Great work.
All right, again, I appreciate y'all's presentation. We'll be back in touch for a little more in-depth conversation, probably definitely at the next work session. So thank you. Madam Clerk, let's go to the next.
Happy holidays, everyone.
You too.
Same to you. Take care.
Next, public comments. The board will hear public comments. Citizens will be given 3 minutes maximum time limit to speak before the Board of Commissioners. Please state your name and county of residency for the record. Speak clearly into the microphone, and speakers should be courteous, respectful, and not make any disparagatory remarks or use abusive language when addressing the board.
All right, Ms. Howard.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so my name is Ms. Howard, and I am representing the Fielder Road project.
Give us your first name, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Lakia Howard, and I'm representing the Fielder Road project. And I would just like to bring a couple of things to the board to review. and bring to transportation and development that I've gotten over the last 2 weeks. So between Highway 42 and Mount Zion, I noticed that there are no stop bars, the limit lines at the stop signs, on probably 80% of the intersections that are between Highway 42 and Mount Zion, and that was as of today at 2 p.m. I wanted to also suggest that maybe traffic circles be put somewhere in between that 2-mile radius. Also, I would like to suggest that maybe a community task force, see it, say it, and save it, be put together to localize the community team that could assist with basic county traffic issues. And then I would like to take the time to specifically thank Chairman Turner, because he has definitely gotten with us and addressed our concerns and really made sure that we tighten it up and get things done. And I just want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
On behalf of myself and Ms. Anderson, and thank you to the community who's taken the time to chip in and be a part of the suggestion. Onward together, let's save lives.
Thank you, ma'am. Madam Clerk, that concludes public comment. No, sir.
The board will now consider the consent agenda.
All right, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second the motion. Any questions on any other items? Hearing none, those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
The next item, Mr. Chairman, are 2 board appointments.
All right, first board appointment is to the Tourism Authority Board. Tanya Clark term is on the Tourism Authority Board, will expire 12/31/2020. New term will begin 12/31/2020 and will expire 12/31/2024. At-large appointment, are there any recommendations?
I would like to reappoint Dr. Tanya Clark.
All right, motions to reappoint, is there a second? Is there a second?
I second that, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry.
Okay, Commissioner Gregory, second the motion. Those in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? It is unanimous. Next board appointments to the Zoning Advisory Board. This is Commissioner Franklin Warner's selection. Mr. Herschel Trewick resigned from the Zoning Advisory Group as of December 31st, 2020. New appointment will fill his unexpired term. New term will begin December 31st, 2020 and will expire August 19th of 2021. Commissioner Warner.
Mr. Chairman, I actually would like to, hopefully we can't hold this, because that position was specific to an area that was underrepresented in our county on our boards, and we're still looking to identify someone to serve in that role.
Okay, Madam Clerk, hold that until the next meeting, which is this January 5th, I believe. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, it'll be held till the next meeting.
Thank you.
And Madam Clerk, before we go to the zoning hearings, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce to the board our newly hired lobbyist, Ohio River South, and Mr. Howard Franklin is the point person. I would like to give him opportunity to introduce himself to the board. Mr. Franklin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening to members of the board and to the community of Clayton County. We really just appreciate the opportunity you guys have given us and the faith you've instilled in us. We actually have a larger team as a 5-member team of veteran Capitol lobbyists who have been meeting with members of your commission, meeting with members of the staff at Clayton County, and really getting a sense of the priorities that we're going to be pursuing in the 2021 legislative session. So I appreciate the opportunity to introduce ourselves. I'm sure you'll see a lot more of us as we have more of these meetings and get into the legislative session. And we really look forward to taking Clayton County into the future and advocating vociferously on behalf of your legislative agenda and your priorities going into the next year. So happy to take any questions or to make myself available to whomever would like to discuss our priorities for the next year.
Before we ask any questions, I see Brandis is on there. Can, Brandis, if you can just say a few words?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you all so very much for this opportunity. I have a long history in Clayton County, having been a past resident in Riverdale. I'm part of the team Southside Connection and happy to represent all of the successes and challenges that the county faces. I'm certainly very aware and passionate, as I stated earlier today, about having the opportunity to represent this county.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And I'll mention, we have 3 other team members who are engaged in other things, getting ready for the General Assembly. Don Bolia, Laura Norton, and Joel Alvarado also will be joining us. And I'm sure in due time you'll get to meet all of them as well.
All right, any questions for Mr. Franklin, I'm sorry. Any questions?
Welcome, Mr. Franklin.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And as-
thank you for the support and looking forward to working together.
And as he said, he and his team will be getting in touch more so with each commissioner member to hear, you know, your position and how you would like to see Clayton County move forward. So, Mr. Franklin, I appreciate you being on this call. You and Brandis, I thank you so much and look forward to talking to you and working with you in the future.
Likewise. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Chairman,
Madam
I do believe,
Hold on a second,
apologize,
Madam. I'm
Chair.
sorry. Go ahead, Commissioner Gregory.
yeah.
Yes, Madam, I just wanted to bring to Madam Clerk's attention, tell me how you want me to handle this. I have requested for the zoning item to be moved up on the agenda.
Right, I was gonna just tell him item number
All right,
29,
okay.
30, and 31, we had moved those down because of a situation, and Commissioner had asked that those items be moved up to be the first 3 items before the other ones. So,
Mr. Reed, since we have adopted the agenda as is, do we need to get a motion to move them back?
Yes, that would be appropriate.
All right, Commissioner Gregory, it'd be appropriate if you make a motion to move them back to the
Motion that item
top.
31 be placed at the beginning of the zoning agenda.
Which items was that again?
Item 31,
Those 3.
if we can hear that just before the first item on the agenda, before the first zoning item.
Are there companion cases to that one?
well, the attorney had 29, 30, and 31, so did you just want that one and not the other 2? Because those,
Right.
all of them were moved.
31 is the only one that
Okay.
refers to, yes.
Okay.
All right.
So the motion is to move item 31 up to be heard first on the public hearing for the zoning. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Hambrick, second the motion. Any questions? Hearing none, those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. You may proceed, Madam Clerk.
First item is number 31, which is LS 2008-0014, Village of Ellenwood, PH 3-42, single-family lots, community development.
Good evening, Chairman and board members. My name is Tyler McSwain. I will be representing planning and zoning staff for this evening. The first case, which is case 31, is a preliminary plat. The applicant, Sunrise Builders, is requesting to subdivide a property near the fork of Village Wood Lane and Village Park Drive within the Village of Ellenwood subdivision. Subject property is currently zoned planned unit development. Typically, in most cases, the preliminary plat is decided by the zone advisory group. Since this is a planned unit development, this will require approval from both boards, zone advisory group and the Board of Commissioners. Staff recommended approval with 6 conditions. ZAG recommended denial of the applicant's request.
All right, is there anybody here who'd like to speak in favor of the applicant's request? Is the applicant here? Yes. Please come forward. Are you the applicant? Yes, but we have an attorney. Say what?
Michelle Battle should be on.
Okay, is she online? Ms. Battle?
Yes, hi, sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. You have the floor, ma'am.
Hi, commissioners.
Yes, can you hear us?
Okay.
You have the floor,
All
ma'am.
right. Yes, this is Michelle Battle with Battle Law, here representing the applicant.
Excuse me, let me
This
interrupt
has
just a
been a
second.
very interesting
Miss
course
Battle.
for this particular
Miss
applicant,
Battle.
based on the fact that this property was rezoned to PUD back in 2008. The Villages in Ellenwood was a extensive project that was proposed and approved by the Board of Commissioners. This project entailed a lot of land and property in the area, and we are only seeking to develop out phase 9 as set forth in that original plan that had been approved by the Board of Commissioners. That project, many of the residential components have already been built out. This section was approved for units that were 60-foot wide, and we were permitted to develop up to 47 units on the site. The applicant bought this property under the understanding that it was already zoned for the proposed use, and they only had to come through the process to obtain a preliminary plat. And so they commenced this process with the belief that all issues with regards to the unit type, size of lot, style, facades, anything with relation to that had already been resolved through the PUD process. However, they get into the PUD, the preliminary plat process, and find out that this isn't just apparently about laying out lots, that this has now become as much about what the product is going to be as it is about the layout. And that just seems to be patently, as I've indicated in a letter that you all received earlier today, is intended, in my opinion, to be solely about how many lots can be developed in accordance with the land development regulations of the county, and that there is specific criteria used in order to review whether or not the project is in compliance, and that you go through the TRC review process in which they are to look at whether or not the plat is consistent with the comp plan, whether it's consistent with the requirements in Article 86-122, which is the major subdivision platting provisions, and whether the degree of the proposed preliminary plat is consistent with all of the zoning district regulations and with the adopted construction standards for public improvements. We met with TRC, and we received a notification of a recommendation of approval from them. We've met with the planning department. We've received a recommendation of approval from them as well. The submission of the information that we had when we submitted this application, I provided you with some information with regards to that as well, but it included things such as property name, property ownership, description, a litany of development descriptions that we were required to have. But none of those descriptions seem to cover the issues that are causing issue with regards to this particular project. We are very clear that Clayton County wants quality development, and this builder is committed to providing quality development. But we also are very clear, at least from our side, that our obligation was to come through and to set forth a preliminary plat that is compliant with the land development regulations and that is compliant with the zoning conditions and the zoning regulations. In fact, there is actually a zoning condition on this property that says that we have to comply with the approval from 2018. And so we believe that we have done that. We have laid this project out in a way that actually has reduced the total number of units from 47 to 42 units. The intent here is to build homes that will sell in the high 200s as a initial list price. We anticipate pricing going up into the low 300s. These homes, based on the staff's recommendation, would be 33%. We've actually agreed to 33% with the front facades being all brick, and then 66% would be with brick accents as well as the other facades. There would be no, I repeat, no vinyl siding to be included because, again, these are going to be substantive homes. We are not looking to build something that is not comparable with the homes that have already been built in the villages of Ellenwood. I pointed out in my prior email to you all this morning that Knight Homes is currently building in the area. Their starting price point is $250,000. I know that those are the entry prices. That's the lure price to get you in. By the time you finish building out your interiors and putting all your extra add-ins in, those price points will continue to go up. And the hope is that, eventually those price points will probably, as the market continues to grow, will end up over $300,000, and it will be and continue to be a very beautiful and nice community. And that's all this developer wants the opportunity to do as well, is to come in, build in accordance with the requirements that are set forth under the PUD and in the land development and zoning ordinance, and to move forward with this project. ZAG recommended denial. We were blown away by that. I was retained after that, but we have certainly looked at what the issues were presented. We know that the community has issues with some of the design elements and other components, but these are not elements that have to do, in our opinion, with whether or not this project actually meets the zoning and land development regulations. So we are respectfully requesting approval of this application based upon the conditions submitted by staff with one set of modifications. One, that the facade style will be 33% brick fronts, 100% brick fronts, with 66%, I'm sorry, being the remainder of the staff recommendation for brick accents, and that the minimum square footage of the units would be, I believe, 2,200 square feet. And otherwise, we would ask for for approval of this application based upon the staff recommendation.
All right, Ms. Battle, I failed to ask you before time. There's approximately 2 minutes left. Do you want to reserve those last 2 minutes for a rebuttal, or at least one of them?
I'm sorry, you're kind of coming in really soft, so I apologize. I didn't hear what you said.
There's about 2 minutes left on your time. Do you want to reserve any of those minutes?
I'll hold that for rebuttal. I'll hold that for rebuttal.
All right, so with that being said, there's no time for anybody to speak in favor of the applicant's request. So at this time, I will ask, is there anyone who want to speak against the request? Please come forward, sir.
Hello, my name is Amari Gusta. I am a resident of Village Park Community, which is at 2980 Village Park Drive East, Ellenwood, Georgia. I just wanted to state that I am a resident of Ellenwood who is deeply concerned about the proposed preliminary plat that is proposed by the Sunrise developers. The quality of the homes that they are saying will be built is not up to the current standard of the homes we have now currently in the neighborhood. My home is 3,500 square feet, but these homes proposed are between 2,200 to 2,800 square feet. Smaller homes, less land, and the density of 42 homes on 14 acres is a concern for me. The space in between the homes, being 7.5 feet on both sides to equal 15 feet, makes a $300,000 home close, which creates high density within the neighborhood. They did not propose any amenities. The only thing they said was that they was going to add a sidewalk to connect to our neighborhood. A third of the homes that are in our neighborhood are three-sided brick, a third is full frontal brick, and a third is accent brick. Without them offering all three forms and only adding to the floor frontal and accent brick brings the value of our homes down. The layout of the homes on the inside will not be as nice, and the homes will have less square footage. And the developer has referred us to other homes that they are building in McDonough, which we have seen, but they are not to our quality of what we already have. We want our community to be a premier community within Ellenwood, so that way it can bring value to our neighborhood and also to the county. We would like for you to vote no on this preliminary plat. And also, some of my neighbors was not able to come due to COVID-19 pandemic, and they felt uncomfortable being here. But I do also have their statements. Ms. Stephanie Livingston from 2825 Village Park Drive said, I ask that you please consider how the value of my home and the other homes in the Village Park subdivision will be negatively impacted by this proposal. The houses that Sunrise Builders propose to build are not the same quality and value as my home that was built by the original builder, Peachtree Homes. Please vote no. Dr. Jessica Rowland Williams and Mr. Lionel Williams, residing at 2975 Parish Court, Ellenwood, says, as two early career professionals with 4 young children, one of the things we love about our neighborhood is the safe and quiet environment it provides. When we bought our first home in Village Park, we saw it as an opportunity to establish a future for ourselves and our family. We are very concerned that the Sunrise development will jeopardize that investment by reducing the chances of our home appreciating in value. We are also very concerned that the quiet and safe environment that our children enjoy will become overcrowded and unsafe. Village Park is a beautiful community that gives young professionals and families a place to settle just south of the city. Please vote against the Sunrise Builders taking this community away from us. With Clarissa Scott at 4018 Villagewood Lane, she said Sunrise developers' proposed plan to build homes in our subdivision that are not comparable to the current homes. Please vote no against the current Sunrise plan. I live in phase 1 of the subdivision, and we have 79 homes. Phase 2 is currently being built by Knight Homes that includes 40 homes, and Sunrise Builders is proposing 42 lots for the third phase on only 14 acres. We do not want the homes that are currently proposed by Sunrise, as the comps are at least smaller in square footage and not the same quality. I am concerned about the property value of my home, and I have a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,200 square feet. Please consider this in your thinking when you are talking about this preliminary plat. And the last one but not least, Ms. B.J. Johnson at 4051 Madison Court, Ellenwood, Georgia, also state, I hope that you vote no to the Sunrise Builders development plans to build lesser value homes in our Village Park community. We have been slighted long enough. It wouldn't be fair to the residents to have their property values potentially lowered. And so I ask you all as commissioners to think about the residents who are here. We want to bring a premier community. We also want to bring value to our homes. And as residents, we hope that you take into consideration, us as residents, the value of our biggest cost that we have taken in within our lives, which is a mortgage of a home within Clayton County community.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else like to speak in opposition? Come on, ma'am. No, ma'am. Come on.
Good evening. My name is Shonda Turner. I reside at 2951 Parish Court in Ellenwood, Georgia. As a newer resident to Clayton County, I am concerned about the Sunrise development, the lot sizes, that they are not the comparable size as what we have in our existing. I understand that they are working very hard to increase the actual square footage, but my concern is that they are not adding sidewalks to adjoin in the entire community because their lot sizes are not as large as ours, and the fact that they have such an insignificant square footage and or the feet between it actually shows the amount of density, as my counterpart has said. And then the last thing is, so I'm asking that you guys request the denial of Sunrise development petition if the lot sizes do not change significantly to be exactly and comparable to what we currently have. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Garber, yet statement.
Mr. Chairman, may I remove my mask?
Please.
Madam Clerk, Mickey Garber, unincorporated Rex, Georgia. This is a classic example of how our county moves downward rather than upward. When you let good people who have skin in the game buy mortgage, and in a good community, their values should be driven up, not down. So the newer developments that come into a community should raise the value, not lower it. And this is the reason Clayton County keeps moving down, is by allowing downward movement rather than upward mobility. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Please come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Catherine Stokes. I reside at 3019 Newberry Lane, Ellenwood, Georgia, 30294. I am probably the newest resident of the neighborhood. We closed in August of this year. One of the main things we chose for Village Park was because of the nice homes coming from where the neighborhood we were in Clayton County, like-minded neighbors, the good environment and neighborhoods. We don't want to be swiped by a new developer coming in with lesser value homes. We're looking to spend our 30 years at this home. That's what we put our value into, and we're hoping that you guys vote no on this so that we do not lose our value in our homes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else like to speak? Commissioner Gregory. No, excuse me, I'm sorry. Ms. Battle, your 2-minute rebuttal.
Excuse me.
Yes. I guess my first point is that this project is no surprise. I mean, this project was approved back in 2008. It is certainly not any intent to develop anything that is not consistent with what has already been in place for this property. This property was approved at a 60-foot wide lot. Right now, we could build a smaller house, but in fact, our homes will be anywhere from 2,200 square feet and above. That is the minimum square footage. That is not the maximum square footage. What we are providing is a home that at a price per square foot is the equivalent, if not more, than many of the homes that are coming online now. The size of the home and the facades of the home and what the interiors are going to look like is what will drive these prices. Our price points, again, with the Village Parks project, that is the Knight Homes project, has a starting price point on their website of $250,000. Their unit sizes are no different than the unit sizes that we are proposing. At the end of the day, our product, however, as we said, will come in the high 200s and then move up from there into the low 300s as our initial starting price points. We are providing a home and a style that is comparable to what is already there and is not going to do anything but enhance and continue the growth and development of this area. We are not putting in substandard homes, and I'm trying to understand where the thought is that that's coming in. But even more important, that's not what this process is about. The process is about whether or not we meet the land development ordinance requirements for laying out lots. If the county wants to have provisions with regards to architectural design,
Ms.
put it in
Battle,
the zoning ordinance.
Ms. Battle, I'm
and
sorry.
Let that govern.
Your 2-minute rebuttal's up, Ms. Battle.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Gregory.
Mr. Chair, the zoning advisory group, which is made up of citizens throughout the county, they made a recommendation of denial of this application, and I'm going to stick with that. And I am offering a motion to deny this application.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Any questions? Hearing none. Those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Madam Clerk, next.
The next item is item number 26, which is BOC 20090062. It's a CUP to allow for automotive repair center.
Mr. McSwain.
All right. The applicant, Aluteu Olokedi, is requesting a conditional use permit for automotive repair center within an existing convenience store / gas station, also known as Exxon, on a property located at 6539 Highway 42 in Rex, Georgia. Such a property consists of 4.43 acres and is currently zoned general business. Within Commissioner District 1, staff is recommending approval with conditions. ZAG recommended approval with 3 conditions, and I can read those conditions for the record if needed.
Please do.
Okay. Condition number 1, the use of the property shall be limited to 1 bay auto service center in suite number 9. The outdoor storage of tires, equipment, or service repair may be conducted outside of service bay. Condition number 2, which was added by the Zone Advisory Group, the CUP will be issued to Aloteu Olokodi only. Any changes in ownership will require a new CUP. And I want to clarify the condition for number 1 that's saying that equipment and services repair may be conducted inside the service bay, not outside. Sorry about that.
Did you say there was 3 conditions or 2?
It's 2. I'm sorry if I may say 3. It's 2 conditions.
Okay. Is the applicant present? Is the applicant present online? No. All right, Commissioner Gregory, how would you like to proceed?
I definitely don't want to, I know ZAG has recommended to approve, but I definitely would like to speak to the owners because, of course, with these automotive repairs, we want to make sure that they are, again, in line, with the community. And so, Mr. Reed, can we hold this until the next meeting or to the next zoning meeting? I think it's very important that it's on the record that this person knows what we want because of some of the problems, we're having in the county, like with the tires outside and the just the way the place is kept up.
Yes, you can make a motion to table this. Obviously, the applicant's not here to be able to contest it, but the alternative would be that it would be denied, or at least has the potential for denial. So,
Okay.
if you'd like to do so.
Yes, sir. I'd like to offer a motion to table this until the January zoning.
What's that date? Our next zoning hearing.
That would be January the 19th.
Is that,
January 19th? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead with your motion, I'm sorry.
Oh, sure. I offer a motion to table this item until the January 19th zoning advisory, until the meeting of the Board of Commissioners for the zoning, January 19th.
All right, is there a second?
Second?
Properly moved and second by Commissioner Hambrick. Any questions? Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is unanimous. Madam Clerk?
The next item is BOC 2010-0064. It's a CUP to allow for a food pantry and clothing donation center.
Mr. McSwain.
Yes. The applicant, Diane Collins, on behalf of Faith Walk Ministries Incorporated, is requesting a CUP for the property located at 6109 Riverdale Road in Atlanta, Georgia. Subject property is currently zoned general business. This property is currently vacant and is requesting expansion of services of the existing Faith Walk Ministries adjacent north of the subject property. Planning and zoning staff recommends approval conditional with 3 conditions. Zach recommended approval conditional with staff's conditions, and I should read the conditions for the record. Condition number 1, the proposed community food and clothing pantry center may not expand beyond the 4,744 square foot building Any expansions beyond the 4,744 square foot will require a new conditional use permit. Condition number 2, all volunteer and employee parking spaces must be paved and striped. And lastly, condition number 3, provide a 3-sided enclosed dumpster area with compatible architectural materials of the main building.
All right, is the applicant present? Please come forward. Okay, before you proceed, we have 10 minutes on the board. Do you want to reserve any of those minutes after you give after you tell us what you want us to know, to reserve for any kind of rebuttal, if anybody comes and speaks against it?
Yes, sir, we would.
Okay, how many minutes would you like out of the 10 minutes? Usually it's about 2 minutes, but it's up to you.
5 minutes.
How many?
5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes. All right, therefore you'll have 5 minutes to talk now.
Okay.
So please proceed.
All right, my name is Diane Collins, and I live in DeKalb County, but this property is in Clayton County. And this is my husband, Lawrence Collins, and we're wanting to utilize this building that we own. We purchased it 2011, and we're wanting to put a food pantry and clothing donation center in the building, but we were told we had to have a conditional use permit in order to do that. So we are here because we know this is going to be a blessing to the community. We are being bombarded, I think because of the pandemic, I'm not sure, but we are being inundated with calls from all the counties, just from people needing assistance, and I know it's going to be a blessing. So it's already a vacant building. And it sits on almost an acre, and it's partly paved and partly gravelled. So we're here to just be a blessing to the community, and we pray that we'll have your support.
My name is Lawrence Collins. I'm the chairman of the trustee board of Faith Walk Ministries. And we are asking the board to approve this because we wanted to extend our services. Instead of having to extend the services out of the church building itself, we bought the property across the street in order to provide civic services to the community. So we're asking your approval.
Okay. If you would just have a seat right there for a second.
Okay.
Is there anybody here who would like to speak in favor of the applicant's request? Anybody like to speak in favor of? All right, hearing, seeing no one. Anybody like to speak in opposition to? Anybody opposed? All right, Commissioner Hambrick.
Yes. Hi, Pastor Collins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please
Hi.
take the podium.
Let me say this. You all can remain seated if you like, but I'm really disappointed that this building is going to be used without any upgrades or remodeling or anything. This is an old building. And your church is beautiful. The apartment complex next to it is really nice. We have a really nice library that we just finished. The fire department, that whole block is really nice, but this building is really closer to an eyesore. And I was asking zoning, Madeline, I think on yesterday, did the committee see this when they approved it? You know, we're trying to make Clayton County clean and beautiful. And I don't see how this fits into that beautiful category. You know, and I really have a problem with that. I don't know if you all are doing anything. I noticed in the conditions that nothing was mentioned about any remodeling or just upgrading that building. But if it's left as is, that's an eyesore.
Would you like to respond?
It really doesn't fit with you all, with what you have across the street. I mean, your facility is really nice. You know, I've been in there, it's really nice. If this matched that, then I would not have a problem. But right now, I have a problem with that.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, basically, as of today, you know, any upgrades or anything requires funding. And in order to get funding, we need to get a conditional use permit so we can go out and seek funding from other organizations that'll help us support a food pantry and clothing. It's basically, and as far as upgrades, it's, you know, basically painting and maintaining the facility, keeping it clean, keeping the lawn, everything mowed. I think we'll keep the area, keep it, you know, as is or better shape than what it is now. We've been trying to maintain it without using it for the last year and a half. So, you know, we can't guarantee we're gonna get the funding, we have to go after it, but for a church to go out and ask additional funding for other organizations which don't want to contribute to a church, we have to have other purposes. So to get that purpose, there was the food pantry and clothing. And basically it's for civic purpose.
Go ahead, Commissioner Hambrick.
Let me say this. I mean, I appreciate, you know, what you all are, you know, looking to do, you know, with that building and helping the community and all that. But, and I hope that zoning and I know that I would think the other commissioners too have, similar, or if not the same idea I have in mind as making Clayton County a place where people want to come and live and grow and all that. And I just can't see that happening with this building remaining in the condition, or I'm not sure what condition, but I know how it looks. The physical appearance is not a good appearance, and it's not what we're working toward in that Riverdale area. You know, we have new things coming up, the police precinct. I mean, all of this just does not fit if it remains in this condition. I mean, I don't know what we can do, Chuck. If you, I mean,
May I say
if we
something?
have to decide tonight, let me just say this. If I have to decide tonight, my vote would be not to approve. If we want to wait and talk about this and see if there are some things that can be done, or some conditions and all that we can agree to, then I will be, you know, okay with that. But I think there needs to be a discussion. I just cannot approve this with that building being in the way it is now.
The applicant like to respond. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Commissioner Hambrick, we're going to upgrade the building. I mean, that's our plan. We're gonna paint the outside of it. We're going to repair whatever needs to be repaired. But to put in that kind of money and then still not get the conditional use permit, we were trying to hold off until, you know, we knew we had it, so that we could, because we've already invested quite a bit of money in it as is over the last few years. Fire Marshal has come out and taken a look at it. I mean, we've got exit signs, new exit signs, lit signs put up. We've had doors replaced. So we've been investing money the whole time. We just haven't put money into the outside of the building. So we've been doing quite a bit.
That's what I see, right, and that's what I see.
And that's what we want to.
The community is looking at.
Well,
And you all mentioned earlier something about the parking lot. I mean, that parking lot is a mess.
Well,
Well, at this,
Okay,
I'm gonna be perfectly honest.
I mean, it's
At this time,
you know, okay.
at this
Well,
time.
I take that back. The
we-
parking lot,
Commissioner
the
Hambrick,
appearance of the parking lot is not good.
Commissioner Hambrick, the
Yeah.
pastor was speaking. Just give him just a second. Go ahead,
At this
sir.
time, we don't have the funds to repave the entire parking lot, do an upgrade on the outside of the building. So I guess, you know, unless you all condemn it and we have to tear it down, you know, it's gonna remain that way, because we can't put funds into something that we, you know, unless we can draw funds in.
Are you all wanting to talk? Are you gonna, or is the building gonna remain as it is?
no, the building is not going to remain as it is if we can get the conditional use permit, because we own the adjacent property, which is 3-point-something acres. That's ours, and it's right next door to it. So both properties are ours.
Well, let me just say this. I'm sure this is Commissioner Hambrick's concern, because I'm thinking the same way, that if we approve it and then you do no work to it, then it remains an eyesore in the community.
No, it's not
When
going
we're
to be.
trying to beautify and uplift that whole area.
Well,
And
as far as bricking and all that kind of stuff, you know, we're not gonna, I've
Ma-
And that's what
major
Commissioner,
construction.
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Major.
but that's what Commissioner Hambrick is saying. If you want to table this, talk to her about it and try to find out what is acceptable for her within that district, then you might get a little more leeway.
Well, that's
Because
fine.
it sounds like to me,
That's fine
she's
with me.
saying that if it is as is right now, she's gonna probably turn it down. Well, that would be her recommendation, so. I'm sorry if I,
No, you're right, Chairman.
okay.
Thank you.
May I
Commissioner
make a
Gregory?
comment?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead, Commissioner Gregory.
I just wanted to say I am so in favor with Commissioner Hambrick because there's a religious building over at dead ends from Lake Harbin into Highway 42. And this is that situation. This is that perfect situation. It has been there, I know, 8 years. We have, every time we go to them, what are you gonna do? You know, and I get complaints from the community, it's an eyesore. And then the people have put money in it that they feel like, you know, they don't wanna lose that money, but they don't have enough to go further. So that's a problem, yeah.
All right, what's the, Commissioner, how do you want to proceed?
Well, I think it's up to you all, Pastor. Would you all want to table this and we work with zoning and try to get something worked out? Or do you want me to make the decision tonight?
We'd like to table it and we'll sit down and talk with you about it.
Okay, well, I offer a motion, Mr. Chairman and Board, I offer a motion to table this until the January 19th meeting, I believe, is the date.
All right,
Which is
that's the
next month.
19th, correct?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct, Commissioner. All right, the motion's table it till January 19th, 2021 session, meeting rather. I'll second the motion. Are there any other questions? Hearing none, those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Madam Clerk?
The next item is BOC 2010-0065, is to allow an expansion of an existing dealership.
As stated before, the request is for a dealership. The applicant, Sierra Vogan, on behalf of Hennessy Southlake, also known as existing Hennessy Mazda, is requesting a conditional use permit for a property located at 7261 Jonesboro Road, Morrow, Georgia. Subject property is currently zoned general business. And again, this property is currently in use as Hennessy Mazda car dealership. Planning and zoning staff recommends approval conditional of the applicant's request. ZAC recommended approval conditional with staff's recommended condition. And that one condition is the applicant must submit and be approved for a lot combination of the adjacent parcel prior to obtaining a building permit. And just as a brief history on this property, the reason they're requiring or requesting a conditional use because of change of ownership. So that may have voided out the non-conforming use, so now they're coming before you to receive a conditional use permit.
Did you state what Zach's recommendation was?
Yes, Zach's recommendation was for approval condition with staff's conditions.
All right, is the applicant present? Please come forward.
So that second condition that we have listed, there's no,
Oh, I'm sorry, there was,
Please read the second condition.
I'm sorry, there was a second condition on this request as well. The subject property is to be allowed a conditional use permit for the operation of auto sales on 8.90 acres of land consistent with the site plan dated from July 8th, 2020. So there are two conditions.
Okay. Please state your name, sir.
My
And
name's Steve Ellis
befo-
with Pro Building Systems, representing Hennessy Automobile Group.
And would you like to reserve any minutes for rebuttal?
Sure, I'll
Should-
save 2 minutes for a
Yeah,
bill.
thank you, sir. Go ahead and proceed.
Yeah, so it's, as Tyler was mentioning, the Hennessy Automobile Group has been there functioning as an automotive dealership since 1998. We currently have the Buick GMC store as well as the Mazda store there on this property. So our understanding that in 2008 the zoning was changed, or there was a zoning change in the county that required automotive to have a special use permit. Again, we've been functioning since '98, and thankfully business is good. Mazda's pushing us to upgrade, so we are willing to invest in the community. It's a great store. It's very profitable for us, and we think we serve the community well. So we're wanting to renovate and expand the Mazda showroom, just the sales and the service capacity there for the community. And we hope that you can support our request, and we're good with the conditions recommended by ZAG as well as the staff.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody would like to speak in favor of applicant's request? Anybody like to speak in favor? Anybody would like to speak in opposition to? Anybody like to speak in opposition? Commissioner Davis.
A couple questions. One, the first one is, who owns this now? Who's the name of the company that now owns it, and where's their headquarters, or where?
It's always been Hennessy Automobile Group since '98.
Okay.
I think the reason for the special use permit is the zoning was changed in 2008.
So I thought
the
you
ownership has not changed.
Okay, I thought you said the
Hennessy's are based
ownership
in
had
Atlanta.
changed.
They have about 14 dealerships in the Atlanta market. Their home offices in Buckhead.
Okay. Do they believe they're going to remain the Hennessy and
Absolutely.
GMC?
Oh,
So
yes.
they're
It's
not changing.
multi-generational. 3 generations
Okay.
are in
So they're not
ownership.
changing
Not changing.
titles from it?
That's correct.
Okay, okay. And what was my other question I had? I forgot that quick, which was, you want to increase auto sales. What type of auto sales? Is it still under the Hennessy? Is it used cars? Is it brand new cars?
It's
What
the
is it?
Mazda dealership. The Mazda dealership's been there for 10+ years, and it needs just to be renovated and expanded and
You're
upgraded.
expanding the showroom.
The showroom, yeah, we're not expanding
Okay.
service or
So
anything.
you're not doing anything.
It's gonna be a much
expanding.
better looking building than what's there now. I
Gotcha.
mean, we're
Okay.
investing several $1 million to make it a whole, I mean, it's a lot better looking.
Okay, because I guess my question is, why does there need to be a merging of the lots?
There's a funky parcel that is, it must be a road parcel historically. It's that little triangle shape at the bottom, right? Yeah, can I walk over there?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. For some reason, there's this little.
Yep, that's touch board. Can't
So
touch it.
that little piece right there is
Okay.
just a separate tax parcel. So I think
Okay.
we're just kind of cleaning up, the staff's position is just to clean up the tax parcels, and we're cool with that.
Well,
Mr. Davis.
well, I know you've been a staple in this community, and we appreciate you
Yeah, we appreciate it.
basically keeping up the community and doing what you do for us. At this time, I request that we approve this. Which one is it here? BOC,
2010-0065.
yes, that one.
All right, the motion is to approve. Is there a second? I'll second.
Um,
Was that Commissioner Gregory?
Yes, sir.
Second by Commissioner
Yes.
Gregory.
Turn.
I'm sorry.
Is that approval with the conditions?
Yes,
Yeah,
with
he
conditions
stated
stipulated.
that he accepted the
I'm sorry.
conditions.
We're good with the conditions.
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't
Oh, you
say
did.
that.
Okay.
Yes, yes, with conditions, yes.
Okay. All right, and Commissioner Gregory, you stand by your second?
Yes, a second.
All right, any other questions? Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you, sir.
We appreciate it. Thanks.
Madam Clerk.
The next item is BOC 2003-0045, it's rezoning, request to rezone RS 180 to PUD Community Development.
The next two cases are running concurrent, but I will read them single to the record before you. The applicant, Battle Law, PC, on behalf of Blackstone Investments, company is requesting to rezone 25 acres of land from residential RS 180 single family district to PUD Plan Unit Development for a proposed new 100-unit single family attached townhome community, which is further known as Towns at Flat Shoals. The subject property is located at 1821 Creel Drive with road frontage along north side drive of Creel Drive near the intersection of West Fayetteville Road. Planning staff is making a recommendation and an amendment to the recommendation before you that we recommend to table the applicant's request due to the information of a new site plan that was being proposed and submitted to staff. So staff would like to sit down, review over the plat, have it go before ZAG, and have it come back before you all within 60 days.
Is this Ms. Battle's case?
This is.
Ms. Battle, you online?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, you agree
Oh,
to,
okay.
do you agree to table it for 60
I gotta be
days?
careful what I say. I didn't realize I was on the mic. Sorry about that. I am in support of the tabling. We actually, I want to make sure that this is correct. We are no longer proposing 121 units. We are proposing 100 units. And the Commissioner Hambrick requested us to try and obtain access off of West Fayetteville Road. We have been successful in doing that, and so we are resubmitting the application to allow for TRC to review that and then to go back, I guess, to ZAG, and then come back before the board. So we respectfully request the tabling of this matter so that we can actually continue to address the issues that have been raised by the community and by Commissioner Hambrick.
All right,
And
Commissioner.
Michelle, it sounds like we need to table until February, is that correct?
I guess all I know is that we're supposed to go back to ZAG, and so I guess that would come up in February because we'll go to TRC, I guess, either at the end of this month or the beginning of next month, and then we'll go to ZAG, I guess, at the beginning of...
Well, I just knew, I didn't think it would be January, so, I mean, it can be
February
past
1st and February 16th.
I just didn't want to say January.
Yes, ma'am. I think February is probably
16th
accurate.
versus ZAG.
All right.
You want to extend it, out to March?
No, I'd prefer not.
Okay.
If I can help it, if I can get through the process by February, I would prefer that.
Okay, well, we want to set up the community meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
If we come back in February and we have to table till March, is that problematic?
Is it, Chuck?
No, it shouldn't be a problem. It may be easier to do February, and then if you need to extend it, you can just extend it at that time.
Okay, we'll do that. That sounds fine to me.
That date is
Okay.
February 16th, Commissioner.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
your motion?
Yeah, my motion is to table this until February 16th.
All right, is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
Second by Commissioner Gregory. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Clerk.
Next item is item 30, LS 2006-0009, which is preliminary plat for the item before.
As stated before, this is for a preliminary plat. Just as the last case presented to you, staff has received a new site plan and is requesting to table the request into the mentioned dates before, the February 1st ZAG meeting and the following February 16th BOC meeting.
Ms. Battle?
Yes, again, we are requesting tabling until February.
Commissioner
I
Hammer?
move that we table this item to February 16th.
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
All right, second by Commissioner Gregory. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. That concludes our zoning hearings. Mr. Reed, do we need executive session?
Yes, I thought I had a Christmas present for you all with no executive session, but I'm the Grinch. It's real estate, litigation, and personnel.
All right, is there a motion go into executive session for litigation, real estate, and personnel? I'll make the motion.
I
Is
don't
there a
think
second?
the Grinch can make that recommendation, Mr. Reed can. So moved, Mr. Chair.
All right, Commissioner Franklin Warner made the motion. I'll second it. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Merry Christmas. God bless. And see you soon. All right, Commissioner Gail Hambrick.
Yes, present.
Commissioner Sana Gregory.
Present.
Commissioner Demond Davis.
Present.
Commissioner Felicia Franklin Warner. Can't hear you. You muted.
Sorry, present. The girls are cooking.
All right, everyone's present and accounted for.
Who have more?
Mr. Reed,
Would you
Motion
like
to
me to
reconvene?
take them?
take them
together?
all together, please.
Okay. The first is Resolution 2020-2.
Do we motion to reconvene?
Oh, yeah, you're right. See, Chuck, you're in a hurry, Chuck. Slow down, Chuck. Somebody got to be the fall guy.
Motion to reconvene.
All right, motion to reconvene.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Now, Mr. Reed, now is your turn. Go ahead, sir.
Resolution 2020-248 is a resolution authorizing Clayton County to enter into a settlement agreement and general release, settling all claims set forth in the matters involving Natasha Powell, to authorize the chairman to perform all acts necessary to accomplish the intent of this resolution, to authorize the chief financial officer to amend the budget where necessary to reflect an appropriate revenue source and expense. All this may be required under the terms of the settlement agreement to provide an effective date of this resolution and for other purposes. I have Resolution 2020-250, authorizing the execution of closing documents associated with the Fifth Amendment to the purchase and sale agreement with Highwoods Realty Limited Partnership, a North Carolina Limited Partnership, to authorize the chairman to perform all acts necessary to accomplish the intent of this resolution, to authorize the chief financial officer to amend the budget where necessary to reflect an appropriate revenue source and expense, to provide an effective date of this resolution and for other purposes. And finally, I guess we would have a motion to authorize the chief financial officer to amend the budget to reflect the appropriate revenue source and expense if the Board of Tax Assessors chooses to appoint Kenneth Pettaway as the interim tax assessor at its next regularly scheduled or special call board meeting,
Which is when?
which right now is scheduled for tomorrow morning, December 16th at 9 a.m.
Okay. All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second the
Second.
motion. I'll second the motion. Any questions on any of the items?
One quick question on the pay, real quick. Even though we're done with it, but why does it require us to approve it again if there was somebody already in that role to approve the expense?
There isn't anybody in that role right now.
No, I'm saying that was in the role. So we're not, can you clarify, we're not adding an additional expense, we're just approving for whoever is appointed
Yeah.
to take on the expense that's already there.
Yeah,
That's
the
what I-
director has retired and the department will be, a interim department head will be appointed. Therefore, that person will need to be compensated for the additional duties and responsibilities. And we're having to approve it because regardless, there will still be a difference in the budget of the tax assessors because we'll be increasing the pay for him.
Okay, I'm good with it.
We're
though.
increasing the pay for
I'll
Mr.
talk to Chuck about it later. I'm good with it. I'm just not understanding that the role was already approved.
No,
It's just
Well,
a feeling.
and Mr. Chairman, that pay may not necessarily be what the present chief
Right.
is
That is
making
correct. That is correct.
because of different things. So, I mean, that salary could vary.
Yes, and we're increasing the pay of the person who's gonna be the interim. That's what the difference is in terms of our approval. All right? Any other questions?
But do we know what we are approving to increase
Sorry,
to?
like a blank check, yeah.
That's
No,
what I'm
no, no,
feeling
no.
like. I-
We are approving if the approval is contingent upon the assessors board approving Mr. Pettaway as being the interim director. They meet tomorrow. Once they approve or don't approve, but if they do approve it, then instead of us having to wait till January 5th to approve the increase in pay, then he will be able to start getting his pay immediately because he will start the interim director's position immediately upon their approval.
They want to know pay two.
Pay two, I think it's like a 10%
same.
increase, right?
Is it the same that the
No,
previous?
no, I don't think,
no,
I don't think it's the same either. I
No,
think
it's
it's probably
not.
just
So
that
that's what they were
percentage.
looking for,
It's
the
a
pay two.
percentage.
Yeah, so I think it's like 10%. No, she's not on here anymore. But I believe it's about 10%, but we can get an answer and get that out to y'all.
I would just like for us to wait. I mean, even if we got to just wait till the 5th, I don't, what's gonna happen between now and the 5th?
He won't get his money.
We don't want him not to get his money, but still at the same token, I'm a little confused. I have to agree with Commissioner Gregory. It's just a little bit uneasy because it's a lot about perhaps, I don't know that, I mean, what are we voting on? Do we know the amount, or what are we?
Well, we don't decide anyway, really. Isn't it the board, Chuck, the tax assessors board that decides on his salary?
What we're doing right now is having a contingency. If they choose not to address the issue tomorrow, nothing changes. But if they do, and they choose to appoint him to the interim tax assessor role, then you will authorize the chief financial officer to go ahead and pay him for that instead of waiting. He operate in that role between now and January 5th, when you all would bring that up, and then his pay would be retroactive to when the board of tax assessors, assuming they vote on it tomorrow, would vote on that. So it's basically giving him the opportunity to get paid between now and the next time you all meet in a few weeks. But if you choose not to do that, then you can wait until to January. But I mean, he'll be working in that role
Without
the pay until that time.
And I'm not against him getting his pay. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is just the set salary. I don't know. Is he going to be at the same salary as the chief appraiser who's leaving? What is that 10%, or what's the difference in his pay now than what the chief appraiser was making? That's all
I believe the way it works is anytime we do an interim position, it's 10% on top of whatever that person was making. So whatever Mr. Pettaway is currently making, he'll get 10% on top of that until a decision is made about the director.
Okay.
He will not be getting what Mr. McDaniel was being paid.
Only thing I would like to say, Mr. Chairman, is if we knew this was coming tonight, to at least have known what that amount is. I have to concur with Commissioner Gregory. No one doesn't want anybody to get paid, but just to be responsible, I think we need to know the amount. We can't make a decision on about, and perhaps. We need to know what we're voting on specifically, for me, for my comfort level.
And I understand what you're saying, but 10% is going to be 10%, whether it's this week or next week, if we're based regardless of who is appointed. But let's do this. Vote on it separately. Take that one separately. Let's go on the first two items, which is
Resolution 2020-248 and 2020-250.
So do we have to rescind that motion?
I don't think the motion
It was
passed.
No, but it was second.
There was a second?
Yep, that's the question.
Yes.
Yes.
all right. So who made the original motion?
Commissioner Davis, you seconded.
Okay, so
So
make a motion.
So I have to make a motion to rescind that motion that was previously made.
And to do what with it?
So move.
I don't do anything. I'm just rescinding it. So
You could.
We're not voting
You could have
then.
included it, but we'll go with that.
we'll just rescind it
All
and
right.
create two
So
separate motions.
So a motion was made, second by Commissioner Franklin Warner.
Warner, correct.
Those in favor of the rescission, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Now, is there another motion?
So now we make the motion to approve.
Resolutions 2020-248 and resolutions 2020-250.
So 2020-248 and 2020-250 to approve.
Is there a second? I'll second the motion. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Read the last one again.
Okay, and the last item is a motion to authorize the chief financial officer to amend the budget where necessary to reflect the appropriate revenue source and expense for Mr. Kenneth Pettaway in the event that the Board of Tax Assessors appoints him as interim tax assessor at its meeting on December 16th, 2020.
All right, is there a motion? I will make the motion. Is there a second?
I will second.
Probably moved in second. Any questions?
I just want to state once again, Mr. Chairman, whether it's 10% now or later, we need to know the amount. I think the CFO is on. We should at least know.
She's not on, ma'am.
What it is.
She got
Well,
off.
either way it goes, that's all I have to say.
Okay.
I'm not sure that, yeah, I'm ready to vote.
Okay, thank you. Those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay, just because I don't feel we have enough information. I'm not sure we're making an adequate vote, but it's okay.
Okay, so that's, I've only heard
One day.
one. So it's 4-1, it passes. Commissioner Warner was opposed.
Yes.
All right. All right.
Mr. Chairman, before we end, was that the last thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, before we end, on maybe if not the next work session, on one of our work sessions, can we either invite the zoning people here to our meeting and all? Because I'm not sure if we are on the same wavelength as far as how we want or what we want to see this county,
So
how we want to see this county grow.
So what discussion would you like to
Well,
have
I
with them
wanna
to be
know
placed
if
on the agenda?
No, just, I mean, do they go out and visit these places that they okay or don't okay or whatever? Several times I've had questions, not just this thing tonight, but other times I've wondered, you know, did they see this or did they know that this is a problem kind of thing? So a couple times I've had to go against their recommendation, and I don't like doing that. I want us to be working together.
May
And I would,
I offer some additional information? Our office is working with community development to conduct some ongoing training for the zoning advisor group and the Board of Zoning Appeals, which we are tentatively scheduling for January. And that will start with just addressing some of the questions that they have, that they've posed to us over the months. And so we hope that that will help at least address some of the issues that they're seeing on their end. But that doesn't stop the board from wanting, if you want them to come and.
no, I think that would be fine. Even if they, and I'm thinking that you would probably relay to them the kind of thing that we're looking for and all, and hopefully we can avoid, or I can avoid, you know, going against some of their recommendations.
Yeah, let me also recommend that as part of that that training, that maybe you'll have a commissioner or two go to it and just give their viewpoint in terms of some of the things they like to see coming up through their district. So,
And thank you, exactly, you're
so
right.
they'll be able to go and speak directly to them as part of the training, and then maybe you can provide some additional insight as to what is acceptable and what is not.
I'll make sure I put a note of that for myself. And we'll add that.
Thank
And
you.
we'll let you know when the training will be set, so that if one of you want to participate, it obviously will be remote. It won't be in person.
Thank you, I was about to say, right.
It'll be a virtual meeting. So if you want to
Okay.
call in or and present, we can certainly put a place for you all to do that.
Thank
Okay,
you. Thank
sounds good, thank you.
All right, I bet y'all won't forget this time. Motion to
Whoa,
adjourn.
whoa. Can I have a point? Just one. I don't ever speak.
Yes, sir, Mr. Commissioner.
I just want to make public notice that we commend Southern Regional on being awarded the third best big hospital in the state of Georgia by the Georgia Trend magazine. I think that's an awesome award that they have achieved there. And we need to, they've done Clayton County proud.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Go ahead.
May I proceed?
You may.
Well, we need to make that public. I mean, people need to know that. Because
Yeah,
there
we
are
have.
those that
We've
don't
put out
think
press
that.
releases. We have done a number of things in terms of making sure that the community and the public and Southern Regionals also are putting out some PSAs as well.
And don't forget about the Water Authority. They announced they've got
That's
more
right.
awards as well. So
That is correct.
we're in
That is
Fort
correct.
County.
But they going up on the water bill.
All right, I knew we should have ended it like 5 minutes ago. Okay, motion to adjourn.
So move.
I'll second. Those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, it's unanimous. Y'all have a good night, Merry Christmas, and God bless. God bless.
Merry Christmas, everybody.